You are listening to WayWut? This is a weekly rabbit hole podcast that goes into a variety of topics ranging from the supernatural to sports to science or anything else that we find interesting. We post episodes every Tuesday. We post on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Please follow us on any of those. If you prefer video, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to talk to us or keep up with any random information we decide to talk about, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, under @WayWut Podcast. That does it for all the self-promotion stuff. Thank you for listening, and here we go.
Why, hello there, and welcome to the next episode of WayWut. Hello, and I am Jason, and I will be your host today. And with me, as always, is my good friend and a man who needs no introduction.
I don't?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
You're that good. You do not need an introduction.
All
You're
right.
just
I'll
Daryl
accept
Holiday.
it. All right. That was pretty witty. I'll give you that. That was pretty good.
Well, today will be another episode of something I like to call the life of junkie, where we're going to talk about a little personal experience of mine and how it ties in with today's topic. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about umpiring.
Oh.
And I started umpiring about 2015, and I've umpired hundreds and hundreds of games and had my fair share of run-ins.
Games.
What's that?
Baseball games.
Yes, baseball games.
You want to be specific with that, Pete. You don't want people thinking
umpires are for baseball. Refs are for
there are
other
football
sports.
umpires.
Football umpire. Well,
yeah, because there's line judges
and line judges, field crew.
and
I see what you're
umpire.
saying. Okay. Well, I've umpired hundreds of baseball games, which include t-ball or coach pitch or all the way up to high school. I've done some high school baseball, but I've had my fair share of run-in with some coaches, players, and parents.
I got to witness one once.
Yes, you have to put the parents in their place sometimes. They think that you're out there hurting their little boy or their little girl, and you just got money in your pocket from the other team, thinking you're just calling it the other way, and or they don't understand the rules, and you call their kid out for whatever reason, and they go absolutely ballistic, and you have to tell them to shut up and read the rule book. It happens, and the players are even worse, where they'll sit there and they're questioning your strike call, or they'll be mad that you call them out at first base, and you have to tell, it's a judgment call and to move on and keep going. But what the main majority is these coaches.
Little League doesn't have instant replay, damn it.
Right, and they always say, you want to see my phone? You want to see my phone? I got it in a video. I'm like, no. I mean, y'all have the luxury of looking back at your phone and putting it in slow motion and go, oh yeah, look, he's safe. You called him wrong. We see it one time at regular speed, and we have to make a judgment on that within a couple seconds. And they don't like that. And the coaches think that every play that happens is make or break.
Yeah.
Like if they don't get their strike call their way, they're going to blow a gasket.
We're ahead by 10 points.
Right. They don't get a play call at second base, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
But they always wanted to blame me, the umpire, for their loss. Never mind the pitcher who walked 6 kids and they give up 10 runs, but it's because y'all lost because I made a judgment call at first base on one play of the game. That's the reason y'all lost. They always looking for a scapegoat. And that's what brings us to today's topic, is some of the biggest scapegoats throughout history.
Before you hop into that, I do want to comment on the time that I got to witness it, because it was Tripp's T-ball game.
It was a T-ball.
T-ball game. And you had to threaten to end the game. Like a parent, I will turn this car around. You're like, I can shut the game down right now. Is that what you want? Then shut your mouth. And then you went about it's like, dang, Jason.
You wouldn't stop. Like, it's T-ball. There's going to be some plays made.
On top of that, they were little. They weren't even they were like 5. It's not like, like the older T-ball kids, or anything like that, where they really start cranking it or anything. They're still figuring out the freaking rules.
Yeah, and T-ball alone has
and you don't even keep score.
No, it may have keep score, but what's different about T-ball is when you play regular baseball, the rules are the rules. They're pretty simple. Everybody knows what they are. But in t-ball, there's the rule book's like 5 pages long of all the exceptions, and a lot of it's up to the umpire discretion. So the crowd is always going to question what you rule because it's always up to your judgment and not what the crowd sees.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. But not only did I have to go left on that parent, I've had to go left on an entire crowd where I had to end the game because they would not stop. It was a stupid call that my partner did. He just called a balk, and the coach at third base went crazy. Like he was yelling across the whole field to first base side, calling my
Explain a balk to our people that don't understand what balk is, because I do. It's
well, the
one of the
kid
few.
was
I know
pitching.
baseball, so
Yeah, a kid was pitching. He did not come to a stop when he was coming to home plate to throw, and my partner called a balk. He didn't pause at his set position, so he came home, and so my partner called a balk.
Mhm.
And the third base coach went crazy. He called, and he was a board member, mind you, but he called my partner, who was in A position, which is down the first baseline, an effing moron in a 10U baseball game
That's
across the
enough to
field.
get thrown out immediately by
Yes,
any of the rules at the
yeah,
second.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
he got tossed, and then mind you, they were winning like 12-1. It was a blowout. They were playing a not a very good team. They were a good team. And this guy just lost his mind. But for whatever reason, all the parents started losing their minds. They all stood up. They were all surrounding the fence. And I was looking at my partner. I'm like, I really don't feel safe anymore. This is not a good situation. We tried to get the assistant coach to defuse it. They would not stop. And I'm telling you, Daryl, they were up against the fence. Their hands were on it. Like they were about to tear the damn thing down, like they were on the Walking Dead or something. And I'm like, all right, to hell with this.
Game
You know,
over.
this ain't worth $35. I'm
Yeah.
going to call the game right here. So we did. We walked off the field.
Dear Lord.
I mean, it happens all the time. And you've seen people or videos where umpires in the game and then it gets punched by the coach, or
Yeah.
the catcher doesn't like a certain call, so she'll move out of the way, and the catcher or the umpire will take it right in the face.
I remember when we were kids, one of our games got called because Chris Bridges' dad wouldn't stop mouthing at the ump, who was Chad Ritchie's dad, uh, and he didn't like the way he was calling Chris's pitches, and he wouldn't shut up about it. And so finally, the ump was like, "All right, that's game," and he just walked off the field. That was it. It was
Yeah.
over. Game was done.
I mean, I get it. Some of these are on a power trip, and we
I
had
didn't
one
think
at
that.
no, some of them. Some
Even
of
my
them are,
dad, I mean, because our dads were the coaches of that team. My dad was pissed at Chris's dad. He wasn't pissed at the ump.
yeah. I mean, a lot of them they go overboard. They don't know how long to take it, and some umpires have really thin skin, and they just let it get to them. And we had a high school game this year where my son Ian was playing, and the umpire couldn't take what we were saying, and we weren't saying anything that haven't been heard in 1,000 baseball games. We were saying things like, "Come
Open
on,
your
Blue."
eyes.
Yeah, come on, Blue. Come on. That was a bad call, or come on, Blue. Just normal stuff. And he made the administrator come over there from the school and kicked one guy out. Then he eventually stopped the whole game down and kicked the entire section of Crandall out. The entire
Wow.
fan base of Crandall had to leave in order for the game to continue. So
Wow.
the entire fan base of Crandall got up, walked out of the place, and then he still ended the game.
Oh, what a tool. So umps are not always right.
No,
Is
no,
the
this
moral of the
guy
story.
was, like I said, I always on the side of the umpire. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt because it's a hard job. Nobody wants it. You're out there, you're automatically the villain. Some people get that bad name for themselves for doing what that guy did, or
Yeah.
just not being in position.
I didn't mean
But
to sidetrack you and
no,
make you
end of
go
the
a little bit.
day, still the coaches wanted to blame the one bad call that the umpire did and want to make you their scapegoat
Yeah.
instead of owning up and realizing it was your team that lost the game, not because of the umpire.
Right.
So I wanted to bring up a few of the scapegoats in sports history, and then I want to bring up some scapegoats in just real life.
All right. So here is it. Me. Great scapegoats in history.
I
There.
like
All
that.
right.
I like that. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Let me get a little drink, and I'm going to set the scene for you.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna take a little vape.
I really become a really cranberry and vodka guy. I really like that. It's really good stuff. All right. Scene is the 2003 National League Championship Series. It's game
Okay.
6, and the Florida Marlins taking on the Chicago Cubs.
All right.
At the time, the Cubs haven't won a World Series since 1908, so it was a minute. The city and the team were desperate to win one and was on the verge of getting there as they were leading the series 3-2 and just needed 5 more outs to move on to the World Series. They were also looking to end the curse of the Billy Goat.
Yeah. Oh.
And what the curse of the Billy Goat was the Billy Goat Tavern owner, William Sionis, bought 2 tickets to Game 4 of the 1945 World Series for himself and his Billy Goat Murphy. He was hoping to bring the team good luck. Well, the goat was not let in, and after trying to reason with the owner of the Cubs and the staff to let the goat in, Sionis exclaimed, "The Cubs ain't gonna win no more. The Cubs will never win a World Series so long as the goat is not allowed in Wrigley Field." And since then, the curse of the Billy Goat was born. So here's the game. Game's going on, and here's the scapegoat event. A foul ball was hit down the left field line. The left fielder, Moises Alou, was trying to make the catch, but he had to jump up and reach into the first row of seats in foul territory. It's a pretty high up jump. He had to jump up there. It wasn't just waist high and leaned over. It was a pretty good jump. It was a doable jump. It was a catchable ball.
Uh huh.
But a fan by the name of Steve Bartman was also trying to catch the ball. Bartman deflected the ball and no one caught it. Moises was pissed. He kept looking up at the stands like, "Come on, we're in Chicago. You're supposed to give me that. You're supposed to help me out." The
Yeah.
fans were pissed. They started throwing beer at him, and he
At the
eventually had
guy
to.
that deflected the ball. The fan. The
The
fans were
fan
throwing
was
beer at
going
the
to catch
fan.
it, yeah, and
Yeah,
here
no,
comes
but I'm
Moises Alou out of nowhere.
when they were throwing the beer, they weren't throwing it at the player. They were throwing
No,
it
no,
at the.
they're throwing it at the fan. Yeah, they're
Okay.
trying to blame him for messing up Moises Alou for catching the ball.
Uh
Even
huh.
though, like I said, he had to jump way up in the stands, reach over to the stands, and the fans just standing there like, "I'm going to catch it. It's coming to me." And
So
yet
it would okay, all right. So it
he
wasn't
wasn't
like
leaning over the field.
okay,
And
like those are the ones that drove me nuts.
oh
Like
yeah,
whenever like it's like the player's glove is right there, the fan's glove goes right in front of it and snatches it and makes it a home run. I've seen that though.
yeah, it
It's
happened.
because I think that happened a couple times during Martin McGuire and Sammy
Sammy
Sosa's little
Sosa,
hunt.
well, yeah, his
Yeah,
run was a big deal.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, he was just standing there though, but he reached into the crowd, and the crowd was pissed. Crowd blamed him, throwing beer on him. He eventually had to be escorted from the game.
yeah.
The Marlins went on to score 8 runs that inning. They won that game and eventually went on to win Game 7.
What was that fan's name? It wasn't Billy Goat, was it?
No, the fan's name was Steve Bartman.
Okay.
The aftermath, Bartman became the most hated man in Chicago. Minutes after the game, his personal info was put online.
Oh, they
He
doxed him.
received death threats, hate mail, harassment from the media, and eventually had to get police protection. He had to go
Jesus.
underground for 13 years due to this incident.
You are shitting me. He had to wait
Chicago does
until
not forget.
Chicago actually went to the
Yeah.
series?
Yeah, in 2016, the Cubs finally won it all and awarded Bartman a World Series ring.
They gave him one?
They gave him a World Series ring, yeah,
For enduring
for
all that shit
enduring the
13 years.
yeah. Sorry
Did
we all blamed you for that, but here's a World Series ring. Hope
they give
it's all
him
good.
did they ever let a Billy Goat into Wrigley Field?
Well, the curse is broken, so
I mean, did they I know, I want to
I
know. In
almost think they would
2016, did
let
they
another
let a
one.
Billy
No,
Goat in?
they broke the curse. They're gonna have no Billy Goats even where close.
So, all right, you say it's I get why he's not a good scapegoat because the ball was coming at him. He wasn't reaching
Yeah,
for it. So, I mean,
but
had
never
they
mind
even
the eight
when
runs they gave up after that.
yeah,
Like
I
he
was gonna
didn't
say,
cause that.
and that would have only put them at like 2 outs in that one. You said they needed 5 more
5 outs,
outs.
so they still need another ninth inning and two
Yeah,
outs in
so
the
even
ninth.
if they went just teed off and went nuts at the end, I mean, say they made 7 runs instead of 8, then yeah,
Yeah, and not only that, they had an entire another game.
yeah,
Even if that was the cause of
that they
that
lost.
game, yeah. What about Game 7? Did he give up all those runs too?
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
why it's a good scapegoat.
you know what, I give, at least he ended up with a World Series ring. I mean, not
Hmm.
many people get that, and
No,
I give Chicago props for not being douchebags about it. So, I
at
mean,
least not for
at
13 years.
that point, at least, that it, one of those things is like, yeah, we won this one. Thank God Steve Bartman here, and that sucker needs to stay at home for the rest of his life. Be like, okay, that's just too
Yeah,
far.
could you imagine if he ever walked back into a game now? Everybody would just stare
Why
at
would you
him. The
still
crowd
live
would
in
clap.
Chicago?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, but there's certain
That
things
would change fan
that
bases.
warrant that have geographic solutions that I don't care how poor you are. You uproot. You do like in like the Grapes of Wrath, and you just put everything in a truck and burn your house down, and you head out California way or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he stayed. Other maybe just where he grew up. He didn't want them to win, but I don't know.
Hmm.
Interesting story. All right, scapegoat number 2.
All
Set
right.
the scene for you again. Another baseball one.
Okay.
1986 World Series, Game 6, as the Boston Red Sox took on the New York Mets.
Okay.
Red
Oh,
Sox was
can't believe the
leading,
Mets went to the series. Anyway, go on.
right? That ain't very recent.
No.
Red Sox were leading the series 3-2. At the time, Red Sox has not won a World Series since 1919.
Curse of the
And
Bambino.
that's right, the curse of the Bambino. For those who don't know what that is, Babe Ruth was sold to New York Yankees for $100,000 on the day after Christmas in 1919.
And they were dry until God, what was it?
Yeah,
Uh,
I have it here. One second.
2008, I think.
Yeah, I'll get to it in 1 second.
Sorry.
No, you're good. The Red Sox were close to ending that drought. The game was 5-4 in the bottom of the 10th with one out to go to win it all. And here's what happened. A very slow roller was hit to the first baseman, Bill Buckner. The ball
I
goes 5 hole, goes
remember
right between his legs, allowing the runner from second to score.
this.
He's looking up at this crowd like, "Why? Why did this happen to me?" He's mad. Uh, the fans are pissed. Mets go on to win that game, and once again, go on to win Game 7. The aftermath. Buckner's era epitomized the curse of the Bambino. It gave it life. Here's a little side note. This Buckner's error, was also linked to the Billy Goat curse. Buckner was a former Cub for 7 seasons, and
Oh,
upon video analysis, he was wearing a Chicago Cub batting glove under his mitt when the error was made.
oh, that's hilarious.
So he was doubly cursed.
All right, so you considering him a poor scapegoat on this just because they lost the game after they lost the seventh game? I mean, he
It was
caused.
a
I mean,
scapegoat.
it is his fault they lost the sixth game. That is his fault.
Is that his fault that they gave up that run? But if it once again the score was 5-4, so where'd the other 5 runs come from?
Thing is like all he had to do was just if he, how many outs were there?
Uh, One out.
One out.
No, one out. There were 2 outs. He only needed to get one out.
Yeah, all right, and you're talking a slow roller that he can easy out at first. No, he earned that. He cost them game 6.
What about Game 7?
Now game 7, I won't. No, but they can count. They can count it against him, being that had he gotten that third out, they were in the lead. That was the game winning out. That is the World Series winning out.
Yes, it's a big play, but
I know that is a
it's
warranted. That is warranted.
you sound like a Red Sox fan.
No, no, but I mean, it's just. I think whenever it's you track the sequence of events there. I mean, the fan in the Chicago game that's like this,
Yeah,
he didn't want that. It was thrust upon him. But Bill Buckner, he was a shortstop, right?
first baseman.
First baseman. Oh my God, he's a
I mean, it was
first
the
baseman.
slowest pitch or
It is.
hit ball.
He gets paid millions of dollars to scoop grounders up.
Mm. It was a bad play. I mean, it was a horrendous play.
Yeah, no,
But
no.
he
This
gets
one,
blamed for that,
I'm
and
gonna blame you for picking a bad scapegoat here because I mean he definitely that's not a scapegoat. It is 100% his responsibility.
well, if he ever listens to that, I don't blame you, Bill Buckner. I don't
No,
blame you. You weren't pitching.
um,
You didn't give up those 5 runs.
I'm sorry, Bill Buckner. I totally blame you because I'm a logical human being. that actually understands how math and how things work. So
So you were one of the Bostonians who were
I'm not a
aware of giving him death
Bostonian.
threats after the game.
No, no, I'm
You
not.
would have
I'm
shook
not a
his
Red
fist in
Sox.
anger.
I'm not a Red Sox fan at all, and not even a little. I mean, I went to a Red Sox game once, but
Yes,
they
I
were
was very jealous of that.
but they were playing the Rangers, and I was the one guy out there rooting for the Rangers, and the Rangers lost, and I was a little nervous that they were gonna be mean to me, but
Yeah,
no,
Red Sox Nation is
they
they
were
they're
they were
strong.
amazing. No, they were
Yeah,
not. They were awesome. They
so I
snuck
mean
me
they're
into this.
strong. Like they put on a good show when you're there.
Oh yeah,
They're not
no,
just sitting back eating nachos.
I made friends with a group of them, and they snuck me into the season ticket holders club, and I got
Ooh,
to see all sorts of really cool stuff, like silver bats from that were Ted Williams's from some of his his records that he did, and then I got to see a bunch of like World Series baseballs going all the way back to the early 1900s. I got to
that's cool.
see some stuff that was autographed by Babe Ruth. I was like,
Ooh,
oh yeah, it was super cool. It was really
oh,
fun.
oh. Well, you'd be happy to know, fellow Red Sox fan, the curse was lifted and he was forgave as Boston won it all in 2004.
Oh,
But
okay.
he did not get a
2004.
World Series ring.
No, of course not. He didn't
No.
deserve it.
All right. Move on to the next guy. This is the last,
Why would you think that he deserves it?
just to let him off the hook. Let it, all is forgiven. Nobody's to blame anymore. Here you go.
Oh, all right.
Pat him on the head and pat him on the poo poo and send him on his way.
No.
No? All right. I'm going to set the scene for scapegoat number 3.
Is this
It,
one an actual scapegoat?
yes, big time.
Okay. All right.
You may actually like this one a little bit.
Okay.
It was the 1994 World Cup as Colombia was taking on the host nation, United States, in group match play. And for those that live under a rock, the World Cup is a big soccer tournament that happens
That
every
the
4 years.
U.S. usually does terrible in, unless it's the
Yes,
women. The women do
yes.
great, but the men don't.
Not recently, not for real.
Oh,
Everybody else is a lot better.
oh.
You got Argentina, you got all the England teams, the English
Germany.
teams, Germany, yeah, Sweden, all of them. Or Switzerland, they're all good. Anyway, at the time, Colombia was a powerhouse in soccer and also known for being the home of big drug cartels.
Cocaine.
The
Cocaine.
scapegoat event. During the match, the score was still 0-0.
All right.
Attempting to block a crossing attempt, Andres Escobar inadvertently knocked the ball into his own goal. The U.S. went up 1-0 and eventually ended up winning the game 2-1. This knocked them out of contention for the cup.
All right.
So, the aftermath. Andres returned to his home country where there was turmoil brewing. 5 days after the game, Andres was at a club called the El Indio with a
Mm-hmm.
few of his friends in the town of Medellin. He ended up splitting up with
Medellin.
Medellin, whatever. I say it like a white boy, like a bolillo, in the town of Medellin. He ended up splitting up with his friends, and it was nearing the 3 a.m. mark. Andres ended up leaving shortly after and was approached by 3 guys in the parking lot. They began arguing, and 2 men ended up pulling out their 38 caliber pistols and shot Andres 6 times, with each time yelling, "Goal! Goal!"
Did
But
they do it
4 more
really
times.
long like that too? Pop! Goal!
Real drawn out, slow shots.
Goal!
Oh man, I read that and I laughed.
All
I'm
right.
like, how can we make that a joke? This guy's getting shot and then we're yelling goal.
All right. Hold on. Again,
It's great. It's just
not a
fucking great.
scapegoat. I mean, that is legitimately his fault. I don't think he deserved to be shot. I don't. I don't. I don't. The punishment did not fit the crime there, but I mean, then again, fools from South America, he knows how psycho they are about
True.
football.
Yeah,
So,
Colombia's great.
yeah,
They're
no,
really
yeah,
soccer fanatics.
yeah,
But what about the other goal they gave up?
yeah.
Was that his fault too? What
Oh, they
about?
gave up another one?
Yeah, it was 2-1. So U.S. scored another goal.
Oh.
So it wasn't like the game ended 1-0, and then yes, that would absolutely be
Oh.
almost 100% his fault.
But had he not done that, it would have just been a tie.
True. And he would still be alive with 6 less holes in him.
God, it's still fucked up.
Yeah, I just see it now. It's just freaking. I don't know.
Oh
It's
God.
funny.
Yeah, and I mean, the rest of the world. Like, honest, I mean, soccer's boring. It is. I've had to watch way more
Yeah,
soccer than I ever wanted to,
it's
and I
hockey without
played it.
violence on grass.
And it's boring. Uh, and the world takes it way too seriously because I think wasn't there some Middle Eastern guy that like he killed like everybody on the team after they did bad one year?
Probably if like you're talking about like Iran or Iraq or Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia,
some
one of them had
yeah,
a team. That
they just
doesn't
like
surprise me.
executed all of them or something.
Yeah,
But all right, I still think I no I don't side with the shooters. I don't side with the shooters. I I do. I mean, it still changed the outcome of the game.
it did.
I mean, because either way, yeah, no, because the
He
tie
probably
would have
didn't
been
play the
better
same the
for him.
rest of the game. Yeah, he felt bad for hanging his head and felt bad for himself the rest of the game. And
Yeah,
probably
but I mean,
maybe he did have good mental
he
ability.
obviously underestimated. I mean, like, like it ain't just. I mean, South Americans are crazy over this stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're
like between,
nuts,
yeah, they insane.
fanatics.
But I mean, like even the British and stuff. I mean, like if you can get a bunch of uptight British people, and I can say that because no people listen to us in Britain. Uh,
Not yet.
them where they put down their tea and crumpets for a second, and then they lose their mind and start burning shit
Yeah,
and
the
trying to
attack on
kill people
Uruguay that happened
over
recently.
over a sports game. Yeah, do you think I really want to mess with anybody in South America who's far more passionate? No.
No,
If
no.
I was a South American player, I would be like, and I screwed something up, whatever country I'm in, I'd be like, I need asylum, please.
True. And that brings me to another point. I read that he had the opportunity to not go back to his home country. He had the opportunity to stay in Las Vegas with some family and friends, but he chose to go home.
He is either incredibly brave or incredibly naive, or well, was.
I think a little both. I think he was thought he was untouchable because he was a national celebrity due to his soccer playing skills, and he was revered as a hero in some
Uh
places.
yeah, no, just that. Ugh, man, no,
Yeah,
like
well, the blame was put on the cartels, but no one's really sure if he was a hit by a cartel or just some drunk, angry Colombian soccer
I
fans.
mean, I have no doubt it was probably a cartel dude because I mean they were packing heat. I mean, cartels don't really exactly want the common working man just running around with a sidearm. So
True, and it was said that the cartels lost lots of money on that game, so they could be
uh,
blaming it on him.
go. God,
I read that several times and laughed so hard.
it's so messed up.
Yeah. All right, scapegoat number 4. This is a non-sports one.
Oh, okay.
It's probably not as funny as the last one. Well,
Was the
maybe
other one? I mean, yeah, it was funny. Never mind.
we
I
were
can see.
talking about this one a little bit in another episode.
Okay.
Set the scene. AIDS was an epidemic in North America in the early 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
Researchers were on the hunt for the person responsible for spreading it. The scapegoat event. The medical investigators from the CDC somehow tracked down a gay flight steward from Canada by the name of Gaetan Dugas.
Is
They claimed
wait. His name is Gayetan, the gay guy.
Gaetan. I'm not sure if I'm butchering that or not, but
I don't know. I want it to to be Gayetan.
it's from here on out. I dub D Gaetan.
Gayetan, the gay flight attendant. How are you doing? All right.
Just goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
They linked him to a number of AIDS cases in LA, New York, and 8 other cities. They
Slut.
implicated him in 40 of the first 248 cases of AIDS in the U.S.
Damn, dude got around. He must have been purty.
It said that he had up to 2,500, if I remember right,
He's a himho.
a year. Yeah, 2,500 partners a year. If
Damn.
they did the math, like if with people he slept with and the people that they slept with and so forth,
Yeah.
it got up to like 2,500 a year.
So, all right. I mean, all right. Let's see where you're heading with this, because I thought it was going one direction, and let's see if if I'm if I'm right or I'm wrong.
Surprisingly, he did not have Magic Johnson money, and he died in 1984.
Well, yeah, because when Magic Johnson got it, it was like 93 or something like that. Whenever it's still early 80s, one, they weren't throwing a lot of money at it because they're like, it's a gay disease. Who cares?
True.
And then, once they're like, oh my God, it's infecting straight people, then they really kind of jumped onto it, because then all the, pharmaceutical guys were like, oh God, that means it can affect me. I don't want one of my hookers getting infected with this. And so they actually did something about it.
Yeah. Well, they finally came out and stated that if Dugas hadn't spread the disease, some other person likely would have. But he just got the blame for the majority of the spread of AIDS in the United States.
All
He's
right,
known as Patient Zero, by the way. Patient
all right,
Zero.
look, all right, okay. This one, thank God, I was worried he was going to be the guy that they blame for, like, don't they, the whole thing about like AIDS was hidden up the ass of some monkey, and
Monkey.
some dude like banged a monkey and
Mm-hmm.
pulled that AIDS right out of its ass.
Pulled it out hard.
I didn't know if that's what we were going to blame Gayetin for, and I'm glad that was the case. But I'm sorry, you throwing up $2,500 sexual partners a year.
Combined with the people he slept with and
Oh, combined.
the
Oh dear God, I
factorial
was
type
like,
of.
how's he got time?
He's
That's eight
always.
a day. That is eight a day. I mean, at that point, I mean, like, I would have to say he would have to be on the receiving end of that, because I know that other part has limited usage. There's only so much ammo in
Well,
that
so is the
gun.
other part. If you're getting 8 times a day, and it's gonna be limited uses.
I mean, I don't know. All right,
Well,
so
I
they're
was worried we
blaming.
weren't gonna make that funny. So
So they're so all right, so he was a him ho, and how many? What was his body count?
uh, it said
His personal body count.
he implicated him in 40 of the first 248 cases. So he had a pretty good percentage of the first
I mean, it's
cases
impressive.
of AIDS.
Don't get me wrong. It's impressive.
You think he got a
Uh,
trophy for it and it's up on his case somewhere?
no, but I mean, it's definitely impressive. But yeah, all right, yeah, we can. I would say definitely a scapegoat there, and I think it was one of those things where it's definitely the name and his sexual orientation. They're
Oh
like,
yeah, it sticks. It's easy to remember.
Gayetin, the gay guy with the gay disease. It's all his fault.
Yeah, it almost sounds made up.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, no, he didn't deserve that.
No.
Uh,
All right.
uh
Next one. Next one is almost a cop out, but I'm going to go with it and set the scene. Christianity is really a black and white on how good and bad are portrayed. The
yeah,
good deals with God, and the evil is synonymous with the devil, who was cast out of heaven and God's grace.
okay.
The scapegoat event is everything that goes wrong, where there is wars, natural disasters, drought. Uh, I killed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The devil gets the blame, and he is known as one of the biggest scapegoats in history. Uh, Marilyn Manson, if I remember right, didn't he say that the devil made him do it, or the devil
Maybe.
told him to tell these people to kill other people?
Oh, Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. What did I
I was
say?
gonna say Marilyn Manson hadn't killed
Marilyn Manson.
anybody.
No, no, not him.
I mean, he just he don't like the drugs, but the drugs like him. Not necessarily. I don't remember specifically him saying devil made him do it or anything. I think that was other people, but um. So when it comes to stuff like this, it's kind of weird, because I I've got whenever you actually look at things from like a theological perspective,
Hmm.
uh, like it's very odd to me that the devil really cares that much to cause that much on whenever it comes to like the sin stuff, because it's like he's essentially still working for God. Like, hey, people that break your rules, I'm gonna punish them.
True.
I mean, it's like, dude. I mean, that part of the story never really made much sense to me. I never really got that part. That
But that's what
you think you would try to reward them. Instead, it's like, nope, I'm gonna make them piss wasps. And it's like, what? No,
well, that's what
uh,
some people say is they have never marked or start that over. It's been easy to blame the devil for somebody else's wrongdoings. They had never have to take the blame. Mark Twain had an interesting thing to say. He stated all religions issue Bibles against him, but we never hear his side. We have none but the evidence of the prosecution, and yet we have rendered the verdict. In my
well,
mind, this is irregular. It is un-English. It is un-American.
all right. But here's another thing: people blame God just as much for stuff.
Oh yeah,
The less religious people will sit there and blame, like, hey, this kid got leukemia. Why did God let this happen? You know,
true.
it's. I mean, anytime that there's something that you can't necessarily see or touch, and you blame.
You want to blame
I mean,
somebody.
it's still. Uh,
It's an iffy
this,
one.
no, it's not even iffy. It's just that's
If
just.
you believe in God, do you have to believe in the devil? They come hand in hand.
Oh
If you
yeah,
believe
no.
in
Well,
one, you have to
no.
believe in the
Well,
other.
if you believe in a Christian God, you got to believe in the
Oh,
devil.
yeah, okay.
I mean, you still have deists and agnostics and Islamic and all those other people that got their own things, but uh, you know, mm, I
It's an easy one to blame for when something goes wrong.
yeah, and I think people like to blame stuff that that can't get mad at them back. Then like they'll sit so everybody blames me for everything, or the case may be. But yeah, I can see that. I mean, people. I mean, like in general, they blame God for stuff just as much.
Hmm.
So, um, I yeah, I guess that is truly a scapegoat. Yes.
All right. Now, we'll finish on this last one. It's kind of a funny one. You may have heard this one before. Set the
Okay.
scene. The year is 1871 in Chicago. The scapegoat of it.
Oh, I know this one. All right, go ahead.
Miss O'Leary was a small dairy farmer. According to reports, she was late on milking the cows that day and required the use of a lantern. One of the cows ended up kicking over the lantern. This caused a great fire to break out, killing nearly 300 people and destroying almost 1,700 or almost 1,800 buildings. For more than a century, the cow Miss Leary got the blame for the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, all
Yeah,
because of a cow.
and what's funny is like it's for the most part, most historians agree that it's not true at all.
Yeah, it's been debunked. The aftermath it shows it wasn't until 1997 that a Chicago insurance investigator exonerated Miss O'Leary and the cow. Somehow he found out that the culprit was a careless pot smoker who threw down a match in her barn and set the city on fire.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, people have, they just it was a fire that it was devastating and stuff like that, and you want something to point the finger at.
Yeah, and at that time
Anytime
everything was
there's something that you want something to say. This is the reason this happened.
yeah,
Uh,
especially something of that magnitude that burns down the almost the entire city. You want to
yeah.
blame somebody, and sometimes
Well,
that somebody is a cow.
unfortunately for that, what was his name again? Barton. The
The cow,
No, the Barton guy from the Chicago, the fan that
Steve Bartman.
Steve Barton. Unfortunately for him, it didn't burn the whole goddamn city down.
Yeah, he would have got out of it. He
I'm
would
pretty
never got
sure
a
for
World
the
Series ring.
13 years, sure for that 13 years, he's wishing that city was just a pile of ash.
Just rotting him on his wall, putting on
But,
lipstick, laying down on his couch.
nah, yeah, people just wanted something to blame on that. And that's
Yeah,
how all that always works. Nobody wants it to be like something
their fault.
small and innocuous or whatever. So
No, nobody ever wants to take the blame. That's true sign of maturity when you're able to take the blame for your own wrongdoings instead of blaming somebody else.
that's
That's
so
what I tell the
deep.
kids all the time.
You're so deep. That's
I'm
so
trying to
deep.
be, and I'm
So
just
deep.
really drunk right now. I don't know. No. Well, that's all I got for today. Do you have anything else to add?
No, but if this episode tanks, I'm not taking the blame.
We'll blame it on the
It's
devil.
your fault. It's all your fault, not
Oh,
mine.
we'll make a blame on that cow somehow, or
All
maybe
right.
that age guy, Gayatin. He did something wrong.
Gate and the gay guy.
Well, until next time, when Daryl takes the reins again, we will see you then.
All right, cool.
Adios.
Bye. Thank you for listening to WayWut. We really appreciate it. Remember that we post episodes every Tuesday and would love for you to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Pandora. If you are watching us on YouTube, throw us a comment, subscribe, and do all the other things that YouTube likes for you to do. You can stalk us on Facebook and X/Twitter with the handle WayWut Podcast. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, and join us next time when we'll get you to say, "Wait, what?"